I have to say now, of course, that a very good friend of mine, and I'm really proud to be able to call him a friend, is joining us, and his name is Chuck DeVore. He is a former candidate for the United States Senate. If there were any justice in this world, you would be our United States Senator from California. Instead, we wanted to invite you here today to talk about your experience, because you are a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserves and you have been on the border. And we talk about Iraq and Afghanistan, these care packages for our troops there, and Guantanamo Bay, which is where the packages go. But we also need to talk a little bit about security in general for America and the threat that still faces us. Right. And you have been an intelligence expert in that area.
Well, we do have some challenges on the border. The Border Patrol refers to the people who come across our southern border who are not citizens of Mexico as OTMs, other than Mexicans. And those numbers include a lot of people from Middle Eastern nations, from various nations in Asia, and increasingly now, people who mean us ill, people who aren't just smuggling drugs, as if that wasn't bad enough, but who are also coming in because they're joining terrorist cells and they don't want to be officially recognized at the border with their official passport, so they come in other ways. The military has in the past helped the Border Patrol secure the border. This is certainly something that really goes back on our history quite a ways. I mean, you could even think of General Pershing's punitive expedition against Pancho Villa around 1910, 1911.
I try not to think about that, actually, yes, but sometimes it creeps up on me from time to time.
So that is one of the examples of the military having worked down on the border. And recent incarnations have included when President Bush sent about 6,000 troops to the border to help augment border security until we got the Border Patrol to be larger and better equipped. And now, of course, the current president is putting a smaller number of troops at about 1,200. The troops, when they do go down, can do a lot of useful things. One of the things we did on the California border was we used the engineering capacity of the military, the combat engineers and the construction engineers, to help build that double fence with the road in between it. And that's something that is pretty similar to what they would do in a wartime mission. So it was actually good training, because there's a lot of similarities between what they did and certain types of engineering that occurs in a wartime scenario. The other thing that the military did was provide enhanced communications capability and intelligence capabilities. A lot of the border is very mountainous, and there's a lot of areas of that mountainous border where you can't get radio line of sight with the FM radios that are commonly used in a tactical situation by the military and the Border Patrol. And the lack of radio communications has actually put a number of Border Patrol agents at risk for their lives, because if you're down in a hole and you get ambushed, you can't call for help. If you get hurt, you can't call for backup and an ambulance to pull you out. And so what the National Guard did during its last deployment was man a lot of different repeaters, where we could have a radio connection down into these low-lying spots through repeaters that were set up on high ground. So there was an enormous amount of kind of behind-the-scenes help that the military provided as well.
We just have a little bit of time left, but I wanted to get you out of your engineering side of your head, which you do very well, but you've also been in the military for what, 23 years?
Since 1983, when I enlisted as a private first class. The current crop of troops that are now defending us, they weren't even born yet.
Oh man, shut up! But what I have to say is, you know how much these care packages mean to these troops. I mean, talk to us a little bit about.
Well, when you're deployed overseas, and I've only been deployed to places like Panama about a year before we invaded, and things were a bit tense. We're off to Korea a few times. But when you're serving your nation overseas and you get something from home, whether it's from a loved one, a friend, or a complete stranger that just happens to be a fellow American, not only is there the material assistance, what's in the box, and believe me, that makes an impact, but there's the whole morale side of things. You're getting something from somebody who cared enough to send it to you, and that matters so much to a young man or a young woman who is overseas serving their nation in uniform. It is a piece of home, and it's so important now because you can go throughout America and not even realize that we're at war these days because we have an all-volunteer military. We have such a wealthy society that it's easy to kind of put out of your mind that you have young men and women fighting and dying not only for our safety but for our liberty in places like Afghanistan and Iraq and other places as well.
We are out of time, but I want to say hello on the air to your lovely wife, Diane, and your two beautiful daughters who campaigned with side by side for 18 months and have made the sacrifice that military families make for this country and for which we are very grateful as Americans. And we're very grateful to you, Chuck DeVore, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
You're pretty popular down here. All right, we're going to have just see for just a second because I